It's not just about the do, but also about who you are becoming. What do I mean by that? In episode 43, we have focused mainly on some practices, how you can rewire your brain. However, another important piece of the puzzle is also to focus on shifting your identity as the person who changed their life, who overcame that challenge, who launched that business, who is successful in their business, the one who is doing the thing. So how you see yourself and who you identify as has a huge impact on what you do, how you feel, what you think, and how you do or don't do, or reaching your goals. Perhaps maybe you view yourself as shy and timid and incompetent, and therefore at work you might fail to reach your career goals because you're maybe so afraid to speaking up and rarely use your voice. Versus if you consider yourself as an expert at what you do, you are more likely to be engaged in meetings and the first to raise a hand for new projects, to keep that picture of yourself alive that others have of you. So you can see your own perception of yourself has immense power. For example as well, like personal example, when I started out as a leadership and mindset coach back in 2021, I had to undergo a huge identity shift myself. Up until then, I only knew of myself as a corporate finance professional, and I had no problem with saying, I am a senior finance business partner. This was a title that was given to me and I simply accepted it as my truth. However, as I started my coaching training, I obviously began shifting my profession. And yet for some reason, it was so much harder to say, I am a coach, let alone to say, I am a business owner and CEO or founder. Despite being absolutely in love and obsessed with coaching from day one, it took me months, literally months, to truly see myself as a coach. Some of it had to do with the fact that I just started out, because how could I possibly call myself a fully fledged coach if I had only just finished coaching training? But even after finishing, I still wouldn't give myself permission almost to truly own this new identity. My saboteurs game was really, really strong at that time. So they paired up with imposter syndrome as well, and they truly gave me a hard time. So even when fellow coaching colleagues told me, Josi, you're an amazing coach, I really had a tough time believing them and accepting what they said as my truth. And what got me out of this was the continuous practice of putting myself out there and keeping on introducing myself as a coach. And of course, also coaching more people to really up my expertise and to really own this new identity. So I changed my title on all social media platforms, my email footer, and started to really proudly announce to the whole world, like, hey, I am a mindset and leadership coach. I'm certified. And I finally started to truly embody being one. So you see, it's not only the repeated affirmation of I am a coach, but it's also experiencing and embodying it. So this powerful combination of affirming and embodiment is what helps us, and your brain specifically, to fully integrate this identity shift. And I'm not going to lie, to this day, I have a reminder post-it note on my wall saying, wait, what does it say? I am a masterful coach, just in case my saboteurs poke doubt through my new identity. And that's fine, by the way. I just want to point that out. It is fine. It is human nature to feel doubtful. But I can now proudly say that I am strong and confident in introducing myself, for example, at networking events, as a leadership and mindset coach. Because that's who I am. That's what I do. So during those last 3 years, I also adopted further identities, though, through my day-to-day tasks that at first I didn't plan for, like when deciding to become a coach, right? Those included entrepreneur, CEO, author, creator, podcast host, or even graphic designer. So what I mean by that is when you start something new and you take on new tasks, and what you do feeds into who you are becoming. And obviously all of these tasks, they influenced my day-to-day, and they influenced what I was doing every single day. So they influenced my identity. And still with author, I published my book this year, right? But I still sometimes forget that I can actually introduce myself as a published author. So it is a really interesting kind of transition from not identifying yourself as that person to becoming that person. But we will go obviously into how to do that. And I also want to just point out what I am working on embodying right now is being fully successful 7-figure business owner, and eventually obviously a mom too. So whilst fully transparently, I haven't achieved either of these yet. We are well on the way, but every day I channel my 7-figure business owner best self to show up as her now. It's about becoming her to take the action that will create the new reality. This process is also called manifestation. And if that's not your thing, you're already calling woo-woo. Hang on, try and stay open to this concept before labeling it and just writing it off. Gosh, I can't talk. Because this too is just a mindset shift, by the way. And it's called growth mindset. I will make sure it's not too woo-woo so that you can get a grasp of it as well. But if you want to dive deeper into the truth about manifestation, in episode, I believe 14, I had such an eye-opening chat about it all with my dear friend and manifestation expert, Maria, and I will link it below if you want to check out that episode after this one. Anywho, the secret to it all, in short, is be, do, have. Normally, people will think that if you have a lot of money due to the work you do, you are a millionaire. Put differently, you have first, then you do, and then you be. However, this is not really how things work. So when it comes to embodiment, it's all about being first. When you become your desired identity, you will have the outcome. Therefore, the correct order is be, do, and then have. Sometimes I would also actually say, as in the example before, the doing brings the being. So I would actually argue that you can also interchange being and doing. Let's look at a different example. If you identify yourself as a couch potato, that's the being part, you most likely will sit on the sofa, let's go very literal, okay, with the word couch potato, and eat snacks. That's your doing. So reality is that you are very unlikely to just get up and go for a run, because that's just not how you see yourself. You don't see yourself as a fit person who goes for a run regularly, because you see yourself as a couch potato who prefers to stay home. On the contrary, if you would identify yourself as a runner, even if until now you were a couch potato, you will get off that sofa and you will go for a jog to match that identification, because you want to live up to it. In turn, our reality will be that you will feel healthy, that your body obviously will change. Maybe you will make friends at the runners club, I don't know. But your reality and your surroundings will adapt to who you're seeing yourself as. So through embodiment, which combines be and do, you are also leading by example. So you are the change that you want to see in this world. You are the one walking the talk. So that means you are a doer and a player on the field, not just someone watching from the sidelines, wishing, waiting, commenting on other people playing. You are in it, or actually you are it, and replace it with whatever it is that you want to make real or stand for in this world. Another example, if you want to write a book, start identifying yourself as an author, even if that book isn't written yet. If you want to be an entrepreneur, start that side hustle and decide on a business name. If you want to be an ice skater, start ice skating. And let this be said too, it's never too late. What I want to share with you is this incredible story that I just can't forget about a woman, I think, who picked up ice skating at the age of 60 plus, if I remember correctly. Don't quote me on it, because it was her childhood dream. However, she never before thought that ice skating was for people like her. And I've read about another powerhouse woman who started weightlifting at the age of 70 because she wanted to become a healthy and fit grandmother. But the fact is that both of these women had played small for all of these years. They held back until they couldn't ignore their calling any longer. So they gave it a go. They shifted their identity from people like them not being able to do these things, or I am not this person who can do this, or maybe I'm too weak, or whatever they were identifying themselves as, to I am an ice skater, or I am a strong old grandma. This ultimately led to them shifting their reality. So they decided there and then to embrace a true identity that was aligned with their values, and they started taking action towards a desired reality. You might think to yourself, well, that's easier said than done, but how do I embody my true identity? What exactly do I need to do? And I have to admit, I was thinking about this question more often than I'd like to admit, but all my brain work finally got me answers, which I will share with you obviously now. So the easiest way to embody your dream is through visualization. In fact, even athletes use visualization to prepare themselves for the run. the fight, the swim, the climb, or the slope down the hill. They simply visualize themselves winning. In their mind's eye, they see themselves running a marathon. They envision the feeling of their feet touching the ground, how the air feels when it fills their lungs, and the emotion they will experience when they finally cross that finishing line. Or they see the route they are climbing upwards, smell and feel the chalk on their hands, and tap into the sensation of reaching the edge from which they enjoy the best view ever. This practice, like this envisioning, fuels the motivation and primes you for the actual action when it's time to do the work. And this doesn't solely work for any physical activities like running or anything, of course. This powerful visualization works for succeeding in other situations or challenges too. For example, you can try to visualize your important work meeting tomorrow going extremely well. Or you see yourself making new connections at the networking event you go this evening. Maybe you imagine yourself being in total flow when batch recording your next 3 to 5 podcast episodes, which I'm doing like right now. Or if your dream is to become a world-famous public speaker, you may envision yourself stepping confidently on stage to do your first ever TED Talk. Begin picturing yourself doing the things that your aspirational identity would do. The reason why this works is that your brain doesn't know the difference between visualizing yourself in that action versus doing the actual action. Even more so if you can see every little detail or even feel every little detail in your mind's eye. It's almost like reprogramming your brain to go that direction like a GPS. It will look for proof to confirm this vision and it wants it to come true. This is how you can reap the good part of the confirmation bias that your brain falls under. The more you do the visualizing or the embodiment and actioning, the more you will realize that you start to become that best version of yourself. The key here though is to do it regularly. And yes, you might be like, Josi, you say this literally every single episode, every single video, but it's just so true. The key here is to do it regularly. This is not a I do it once and never again type of thing. The more often you do it, the better the results will be. And there are many different ways to do this. So really find what gels best with you. Maybe it's a 3-minute visualization here. Maybe it's a short journal there, or talking with a friend about it and dreaming together, or going maybe for a manifestation walk and just envisioning yourself living in that neighborhood. So my invitation for you after this episode would be to get crystal clear on who you are and what do you do as your best self. How are you living your day-to-day life? How are you showing up at work, or how are you interacting with others? How do you move? Who's around you? Where are you and what are you wearing? And most importantly, what are you feeling? Again, the more detail you can see and feel and experience, the better. And just as a little reminder, this can change, like your visualization can change. It doesn't need to be perfect. And the goal is really to fuel you in the now with the potential of who you can be if you choose so. And with that, if you like this episode, please do like it on YouTube or leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcast. It's just a couple taps for you, but means a whole lot to me. And don't forget, obviously, to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Have a fantastic week, and I shall see you again in the next episode. Bye.